Welcome to Night Shift. I don't know, is this Night Shift not live? Technically, I am Kyle, that's Student Game here with Nick Porcelli. Live, air quotes, from FBC Mortgage Stadium, the bounce house. We're under the late evening sun here, or the stars at this point after the game's ended finally. Of course, we had the spring game, 2024, Knights versus Knots. Maybe we didn't have the same exhilaration as a two-sport player in John Rice Plumlee, but fans everywhere for the Knights were introduced to one KJ Jefferson. Nick, I mean, first of all, how fun was the spring game for you here?
I mean, it was enjoyable, not just the game, but the skills competition. First of all, I just like watching other people enjoy themselves, and the players were having a blast. We got a bunch of videos of the skills competition, which you can see on our Twitter account and eventually our Instagram.
Bing! Yeah, I think that's
where
big worthy.
You can see the players are laughing, they're going nuts. One guy drops a punt, and they all just mob him.
It wasn't so much that he just dropped it as it was a large human who kind of did one of those roly-poly falls. Always graceful, of course. Eric DeSalvo making his appearance as the Citronaut in the foot race. All sorts of silliness and antics ensuing, of course, the collective getting people and fans involved. I think there was a kick again, and of course there was a play call too as well by a fan. But yeah, overall a fun night for fans and kind of a thing to introduce the transferred players, the newer players, and to reintroduce some of those older players to see how they interact. And I think a big element of tonight was, of course, quarterback KJ Jefferson coming in, transferring from Arkansas. Listen, Nick I'm not going to call it a close encounter, but seeing him in person for the first time, Nick, what was your impression of KJ Jefferson? I
can't say it fully because it's not PG, but summing up, holy bleep.
That's right, that is a large human. And it's funny, you know, the other thing that I think is a big element that fans would be looking for from the spring game, Nick, is all the talk of Ted Roof coming in as the defensive coordinator, but this defense having a mantra of aggression. And post-game, it's interesting to see a quarterback of KJ's size respond to the leaps he thought the defense made, saying, "Them boys can hit." So you have a large quarterback saying that the defense can hit, and of course they did intercept 2 balls. Now one of them was due to a pickpocketing of a bobbling, yes, but certainly, you know, only one where I think KJ was, quote, at fault, but I think it's one of those chemistry and connection things that you would see in a spring game. Nothing shocking there. What jumped off the page for you, Nick?
Well, you were talking about chemistry and connection. I'm starting to see KJ really start to, it's not 100% there yet, but he's starting to get connection with his receivers, particularly one Xavier Townsend. He was all over tonight. I mean, I got his stats right here. Obviously, again, spring game, take these with the game installed, but still, where is he? 6 catches, 100 yards. I mean, and to be fair, some of them were on Xavier, you know, like, one thing you saw throughout tonight was, you know, they would, like, you know, dump it off, maybe like a 10-yard at the most, but, you know, the guys would, they're just playmakers, and they bust out for like 40, 50-yard games. I mean,
lots of yards after the catch. The Yaks were grazing on the football field tonight, no question. Another name worth mentioning too, Jared Baker, right? We talked to him during the spring practice. He said to me he was looking to show himself off, show off some of the skills he hasn't gotten to as a 5th-year senior now. He has missed a lot of time due to injury and also has competed with some very talented receivers in the past. Marlon Williams, guys of that ilk. That's how long he's been here, right? 5 years. So with all that in mind, to see him come out tonight and have the 2 longest plays, one in the air at 71 and the longest running play as well at 23 yards was certainly something worth mentioning for the game in this offense.
That was one of the plays I was just talking about. I mean, it's probably like a 10-yarder, but man, he just turned on the jets, and before you knew it, he was gone. I am up in the press box speechless like, dang, he's fast.
This coming from the runner that is a member of the Black and Gold Banner right here. So that should tell you everything you need to know there. Talk about the defense, though, what you saw there, Nick. What was it that you enjoyed from that group? Do you feel like you saw that aggression that we've heard so much about over spring practice from some of the defensive players?
Well, you were saying, KJ was saying in the post game, which you can see on the Black and Gold Banner at YouTube channel.
Bing! There you go.
Man, these guys can hit. Yeah, no, that's pretty obvious. I saw that. I mean, they were everywhere. Now, you were talking about, like, you know, the 2 interceptions. One of them wasn't on KJ, but still, the defense seemed to always be where they needed to be. And again, yes, it's spring game, 9 sacks total, though.
Yes, right. I think it was 5 by the Knights, 4 by the Nauts. KJ himself sacked twice, I think 2 or 3 times. But yeah, the punchline is there's some there, and the concentration on turnovers. I know that's something Jeff Sharon is going to want to hear about here. We'll certainly talk about that on the next night shift. With all that in mind, though, I feel like that presence was there. Obviously, we didn't have a full gamut. You know, there wasn't, so like, for example, I had RJ Harvey, not part of the running unit. Still good amount of running. Johnny Richardson having some good plays. Miles Montgomery having a few good moments that I like the look of as well. You'll certainly getting some touches from him during the season, I would suspect. And then also, Nick, the offensive line, granted, you mentioned the 9 sacks total given up. But I feel like they're going to have a situation that they didn't really get to have last year due to injuries and various other things, and that's going to be shoring up an offensive line that might actually start together for a string of games. So,
yeah. And by the way, obviously, like you said, RJ Harvey, he didn't play, but he was here. He was in the strongest arm skill competition.
That's right.
Fun fact, my friends, that man has an arm because he won that competition with a 68-yard throw. I was standing right behind him when he did it. And it's just one of those moments where I'm like, wait, how far is that going? Oh, wow.
Is that something you caught on the socials there too, Nick?
I did. You can see that.
All right, Bing. I said, yeah, Bing. We'll give that a Bing. So I think the biggest takeaway is obviously it's spring practice, and we mentioned RJ Harvey missing, Kobe Hudson missing as well. That's gave an opportunity for some of these other names to shine. One can only imagine what it's going to look like once everybody's versed and everything's going. But I think, as far as focusing on improved linebacker play, we saw elements of that. There was some containment, some tackles that looked better. Granted, we didn't see, well, let's put it this way. If they were practicing against RJ Harvey during the spring, which they were, that could only have made them better overall. And listen, the Big 12 has shown to have some very solid running backs. Kansas State's guy is excellent. He's a pro caliber running back. He's going to get a lot of carries with their quarterback being a freshman. And Oklahoma State, well, their running back was kind of shut down last year here in the Bounce House, but still just a number of running threats that they'll be seeing in the now expanded Big 12. So that's, you could see that Coach Malzahn was confident in the transfers that he got to bolster that spot. Now, what would you add there, Nick? What else did you see tonight?
Well, to go off originally what you're saying, how he feels good about the transfers, he was very complimentary of them the post game. And to be fair, yeah, a lot of like the big plays both on defense, they came from the transfers, guys who I was fortunate enough to talk to, and I'm like, and so therefore I was a little biased coming and being like, I hope I see something from them, and they give me what I wanted. I mean, you know what? I would read the stats, but there's too many. I'm not kidding. But if I could add just other thing, again, it's a spring game, but this is a tune-up. But that being said, I think they give Knight fans a lot of things to be excited about. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because, nostalgia. You got guys like, Shaq Griffin, Gabe Davis is back.
John Rice Plumlee was at the game.
Yeah. It's cool to see those guys. We weren't out there, but, fans are led on the field afterwards. I'm sure they enjoyed meeting them.
Well, I mean, you were out there getting video of the post-game drills. What are you talking about you weren't out there?
No, once fans came on, because that's when I had to run to join you in the press conference.
See, you don't have to go that much inside baseball. We were there, though, in a lot of ways and fashions.
You know what? I'll take that back. We could hear him, just like how I could hear Jeff Sharon kicking everyone off from the PA booth.
There's some shouts for you there, though. But yeah, and overall, a fun thing. I think something that's interesting from all the players and Coach Malzahn himself in post-game is they mentioned first and foremost that the spring game was a fun event and something that was certainly a good outreach to Knight Nation, such that it is. So, the GKCO bunch certainly got a show tonight, and a lot to be looking forward to come August when the ball kicks off. Yeah, I said August 29th, of course, being the opening date of play for UCF football. So, yeah, it's just March, but a lot of chemistry built and some things that will be built upon to head into the season for the sophomore campaign of the Big 12. Nick, what do you got?
Well, I got one question for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we were talking about the skills competition. The final one was not players. It was some fans, and as well as, like Eric DeSalvo, as you just mentioned.
Yes, but the Citronauts, right.
Yes, but in the post-game, maybe he was joking. I hope he wasn't. Coach Malzahn was like, you know what, I want to have a media race. If that happens, You know I'm doing it. I'm coming for that title.
I will speak on behalf of the Black and Gold Banneret delegation that we will be sending Nick Porcelli in the media racing competition. If they bring the blocking sled out, I will volunteer. That's what I was saying.
Oh, that answers my question. I'm like, if I line up on that line, are you going to be next to me?
In the words of the great Bishop Bullwinkle, hail to the now, no. I didn't think I was going to have to whip that out in this show, but here you go. Anyways, with that in mind, an honor, joy, and privilege to have everybody aboard this edition of Night Shift Live. Not live, I don't know.
Postgame.
Night Shift Postgame, according to Nick Porcelli. Thanks to Nick Porcelli and all of you for checking in. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. And until next time, everyone, class.